you dive deep into the conversation between Kanye West and Joe Rogan. Just give me a couple of highlights. What did that do for you, Sal? What is your reaction to Kanye on Rogan?
Absolutely loved it, man. Every second. I loved it. I am a big Kanye fan, as you know. I absolutely love Kanye West. I love his art. I love his mind. I think he's really super misunderstood. Same thing like Trump. Like, you know, Kanye's had a few moments that probably weren't his best, and unfortunately they were caught on camera. And
it's on my Grammy. I love it.
Yeah, the Grammy. I love Taylor Swift. You know,
greatest moment ever in those awards, I have to say.
Ever, yeah. I mean, it's sad that Taylor had to go through what she went through, but it's definitely an iconic Grammy moment. There's no doubt. But I've watched a lot of interviews with Kanye West, and I would say that my feeling is this is the first time I've actually seen someone interview Kanye West that was respectful of not the first time I've seen someone be respectful of Kanye per se, but someone who let him talk, just let him talk. And the way Joe Rogan did it, giving Kanye that space allowed Kanye to give context to his ideas, because his ideas they're very different to a mainstream way of thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Joe just sat there and listened, and I say this to my husband, people think listening means waiting your turn to speak. That's not listening. Listening is actually being present and getting into, like, really hearing what the person's saying and flipping your own, like, suspending your own ideology and going, hang on, what's that person got to say? This is what I think. I'm cool with that. But what are they actually saying? Let me try and understand it from their perspective. That's what listening is, right? And I just felt like Joe Rogan did that exceptionally well. And it allowed Kanye the space to explain these crazy ideas, but you go, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. Wow. Like whereas I think, and maybe the nature of Joe Rogan's show, because it goes for like 3 hours, he had the ability to do that. Whereas if you've got a 10-minute interview on Entertainment Tonight or whatever, obviously it's very choppy, and that you got to ask another question. You can't afford that kind of space. But it was just so good. And, you know, Kanye is adamant that he's going to run for president. His idea is
this time around. Is it like?
Well, it can't be, can it?
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know how it works. Yeah.
I think he said 2024 actually. Yeah, he did say 2024. Yeah, what else?
Is there anything specific that you were like a poignant sort of thought or idea that he had that you're like, oh, I never thought that about you, and
yeah,
that's cool. Yeah.
Oh, so much about what he was saying. But I always, I was always waving the Kanye flag. I'm like, nah, man, I love this guy. Like, he's so good.
I'm a Kanye convert. I used to hate the guy up until
man. I always knew he was a genius. I always knew it. I was like, his music's too ridiculous. But the thing is, like,
I will say I've never rated his music. I still don't.
But you don't like that music. That's not something that.
What do you mean I don't like that music?
You don't like his music at all. You don't like Kanye's music at all.
No, not really. I probably haven't heard enough of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
all I know is songs like Gold Digger and stuff.
Yeah, but that's very pop. There's other stuff that you probably really like, man. I think he's awesome. But the thing is, like, that's not he will not, he refuses to box himself as just a rapper. He's a fashion designer, and he's a, you know,
his white t-shirts for $300 or whatever it is.
No, he works with Adidas, he works with the Gap. Like, he's a designer. He's a legit designer now. And what else does he do? He's his own CFO. That was cool. That was cool when he was talking about that. Like, he manages all his finances. He does it all. Like, normally a lot of these like big celebrities, that they need a CFO, but he does it all. And what he was saying was, because Joe was saying, well, what are you going to do that's different? Like, how are you going to make this different or better? And Joe asked him about the military, and asked him about education, and asked him about health, all of that kind of stuff. And there was one thing that he said that I was just like, that makes sense. That makes sense. He said that he feels, because of the way that he's wired, like, he said he feels confident that he will make solid decisions when all the information is in front of him. He said, I'm a producer. I'm an artist. I'm a producer. I can't do anything. And he is. He's a producer. He's a musician. He's a rapper. He's got a lot under his belt. So what he's saying is, like, when he's got everything, when he has access to all the information on any given topic, then he can synthesize it and execute it then. So that I found that interesting.
The thing that's really I've liked about him of recent time is I guess how he's been talking about sort of black culture in America and the mindset of black people. Did he touch much on that at all? Like that whole
he did.
What is that? That plantation mentality. It was very. I find that stuff really interesting. Like, and it's the thing that I'm very strong on is that whole growth mindset, and you know, not being a victim. You know, taking all the opportunities that you have in life, and rather than looking through a lens of, oh, poor me, that you are an individual and you have every opportunity to do what you need to do. Understanding, again, I always say that not everyone starts from the same place, but we all have the same opportunities in life. I think he's got a really interesting message when it comes down that path. I think that a lot more of the black culture in America, I think, really needs to listen to.
Yeah. He is. He's definitely not someone who just rests on his laurels and poor me. Nah, he forges forward all the time and does it well. Presidency, I don't know. I don't know enough about politics to make any comment on that. But but he feels confident. He feels confident. He was saying how Oprah approached him and was like, "Nah, man, don't do it. You don't want to do it. Like, you know, you're gonna have to upskill yourself on foreign policy and that policy and this policy." And he's like, "So that's what I'll do." And he was saying, like, he doesn't like it when someone decides for him that he can't do something. And I understand that. You know, when someone goes, "Oh, Sal, you don't want to do that," it's like, you let me decide. You let me make my own mistakes. Like, you don't get a say on what I do. You don't get a say.
It's how the best learning happens, apparently.
Get in the ring. Like, you know, and I think that's all he's saying. Like, just let me in the ring. Let me have a go. If it doesn't work, well, it doesn't work. But he's not going to let the potential of it not working, him just turn around and go, no, I won't do it then. No. So I respect that. I respect. And the other thing, as a Christian, I really respect that he's got his head around. As Christians, we believe that everything that you have, all that you are blessed with, comes from the Lord. Like, it's just up to us to execute it, right? But he's like, everything he says, like when he's talking about his talents, when he's talking about his brain, when he's talking about all of these different things, he's always like, because God's given me, because God, like he's yeah. That was interesting. But
Kanye,
the Christian,
2024.
apparently, unless he just decides not to, which he
He'll
can.
he'll probably be up against The Rock or something like that, and they'd be like, "Yeah, this is amazing."
What's happened to politics, man? But what he did say, what I really like is he's really big on, like, he's really wants to push farming policy, really good eating, health. Like, he really wants to promote a message of health and unity. He said something really interesting. It's like I don't know, like you could say it's a bit of a utopic.
Do you know you know what the irony in using the word utopic or utopian view is? It actually means the never reachable.
Right. Well,
you're probably saying it right then.
Well, it has to be reachable at some point. Like, people need to work together. People need to care. That's what he was saying. Like, people need to care about each other. Like that. He's sort of coming from that vantage point.